The void of space is a place where time doesn't matter, only power. And power, as the universe had long forgotten, now resided quietly on Earth. Hidden beneath layers of silence, Earth had watched. Earth had waited. And the galaxy, arrogant, blind, and cruel, had no idea what was coming. The first message arrived like a whisper and a scream at once. Submit or be annihilated. It came from the Goran Collective, the most feared alien empire in the known galaxy. Their fleets were massive, unstoppable, and merciless. They had conquered hundreds of worlds, enslaved billions, and bent civilizations to their knees. And now, they demanded Earth's surrender. On a quiet morning in Washington, D.C., Admiral Marcus Reynolds stared at the message on his desk. The room was silent except for the faint hum of electronics. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes that had seen too many crises. Beside him, Captain Emily Carver tapped her fingers against the console, impatience and fear masked beneath professional composure. "They think we'll kneel," she said softly. "They don't know humanity." Marcus didn't answer immediately. He leaned back, staring out the panoramic window overlooking the city. Earth's leaders had convened, debating diplomacy, surrender, evacuation, but deep down, they all knew one truth: humanity doesn't bow. And this time, they wouldn't just resist. They would strike. Space has a way of humbling even the most arrogant beings. Endless, silent, and indifferent, it swallows entire civilizations without a thought. For centuries, humanity had been underestimated. Observed, studied, mocked, but never feared. That was about to change. Commander Daniel Hayes walked down the steel corridor of the orbital station Haven 7, his boots echoing against the walls. The hum of the station's power core resonated like a heartbeat, steady and insistent. Around him, the crew moved with quiet precision, every gesture choreographed, every movement practiced. The Black Armada was more than a fleet, it was humanity's hidden vengeance, forged in shadows and secrecy, built over decades in preparation for this single day. Daniel paused at the observation deck, looking out at the void beyond. Stars stretched endlessly across the darkness, cold and beautiful, but today they were no longer distant spectators, they were the arena. Somewhere out there, the Goran Collective's fleet was advancing, massive and confident, certain of victory. But they had never faced anything like the Black Armada. "Commander Hayes." Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell's voice was calm, measured, yet there was an undercurrent of tension that only those who had seen the fleet in action could understand. She adjusted the targeting calibrations on her console, her fingers dancing over the controls. "Admiral Reynolds says 5 hours until the Goran fleet reaches Earth's orbit. Sensors indicate their cruisers are optimized for mass assault, not precision. They'll underestimate us until it's too late." Daniel nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. "They always do," he said softly. "They assume speed is weakness, size is power. They think Earth is vulnerable. They don't know patience. They don't know calculation. They don't know humanity." The Black Armada's flagship, the Obsidian Wrath, loomed behind him like a shadow incarnate. Its black hull absorbed the station's artificial lights, giving the ship a presence both regal and terrifying. Its angular design cut through space like a predator's claw, engineered to move fast, strike hard, and vanish before retaliation. Around it, smaller vessels, scouts, interceptors, strike crafts readied themselves for the mission ahead. Each crew member knew their role: strike with precision, move as one, and never falter. Sarah leaned closer to her console, her eyes scanning tactical displays. The launch bays are prepped. Cloaking shields are online. Weapons are charged. Boarding drones are in position. When the Admiral gives the order, we move like ghosts. Daniel's lips curved into a grim smile. Ghosts with teeth. Deep beneath the orbital station, engineers worked in silence, running final diagnostics on the plasma turrets, railguns, and quantum torpedoes. Every component, every system, had been tested and retested. Failures were not an option, hesitation could mean annihilation. They had been preparing for this moment their entire lives, though no one outside these hidden stations had ever suspected it. Humanity had been quiet, but in that silence, it had become a predator. At Mission Control, Admiral Marcus Reynolds' voice resonated over the comms, calm and commanding. All units, listen carefully. The Goran Collective has demanded our submission. They believe Earth will bow. They are wrong. Today, humanity does not kneel. Today, we strike. Black Armada, initiate launch sequence. Let them come. The corridors trembled as thrusters powered up. The hum of the station intensified into a roar, echoing through every bulkhead. One by one, the ships of the Black Armada detached from their docks, slipping into orbit with practiced precision. Cloaking shields activated, rendering them invisible to standard sensors. Shadows moved where none should have been. Humanity had prepared, waited, and now, it was ready to unleash the result of decades of secrecy. From the command bridge of the Obsidian Wrath, Daniel watched as the first scouts vanished into the void. His hand hovered over the launch controls, muscles tense, heart beating with anticipation. Around him, the crew mirrored his focus. Every eye was sharp, every movement deliberate. The Gorans would see nothing coming until it was already too late. Sarah spoke over the comms, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her. Enemy fleet detected. Hundreds of vessels. They're massive, but predictable. They're following standard formation patterns, assuming Earth is unprepared. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Then let's give them a lesson in unpredictability. He pressed a sequence on the console. Missiles and torpedoes silently shifted to the forward launch bays. Plasma cannons powered to full charge. The Obsidian Wrath was ready to move at a moment's notice, a shadow of death waiting to descend upon the unsuspecting. In orbit around the outer planets, the Goran fleet advanced, each ship a towering fortress of alien technology. Their command vessels monitored for any sign of resistance. Sensors picked up nothing. They assumed stealth was impossible. They assumed Earth would submit without a fight. Their arrogance was their undoing. Without warning, the first strike came. From the darkness, the Black Armada emerged like a storm. Scouts darted past cruisers, disabling shields and communications before the Gorans even registered their presence. Plasma torpedoes erupted in fire and energy, vaporizing enemy craft in seconds. The initial salvo was surgical, precise, and terrifying. Daniel gritted his teeth, gripping the console as the battle began. Engage. Full spread. Focus on command ships first. Hit hard, hit fast, and vanish before they can retaliate. Sarah's fingers flew across the controls, unleashing a coordinated attack. Drones swarmed alien vessels, sabotaging engines and weapon systems. Plasma beams streaked across the void, leaving trails of devastation. The Black Armada moved as if it were a single entity, instinctive and unstoppable. For the Gorans, it was chaos. Their sensors picked up movement that seemed impossible. Ships appearing where none should exist, vanishing as quickly as they came. Commands were shouted in alien tongues, orders ignored or misinterpreted. Panic spread through the ranks. The invincible fleet was faltering against a civilization they had considered primitive, insignificant. On board the Obsidian Wrath, Daniel allowed himself a brief smile. They'll try to regroup. They always do. But we set the tempo now. And we don't slow down. The initial engagement left the Goran fleet staggered. Hundreds of ships were destroyed or disabled. The survivors scrambled, desperate to defend their formation, but the Black Armada didn't relent. Each move was calculated, each strike intentional. Humanity was not merely defending, it was redefining warfare. From Earth, the world watched in awe. For the first time, the truth of the Black Armada became known. Humanity had not been idle. Humanity had been preparing. And humanity was now an unstoppable force in the void. Commander Hayes leaned back, surveying the battlefield from the bridge. They think they've seen power. They've seen nothing yet. The galaxy has underestimated us for centuries. That ends today. As the stars stretched beyond the viewport, the Black Armada pressed onward, leaving destruction in their wake. They were shadows, predators, and a reminder that the universe never anticipated humanity's capacity for strategy, courage, and ruthlessness. The first battle had been won, but it was only the beginning. The Black Armada was awake. Humanity's answer to the threats of the galaxy had been unleashed. And the Goran Collective was about to learn the most dangerous truth of all: never command Earth to kneel. The void of space was a battlefield of light and shadow, a canvas of fire and smoke stretching across the endless black. The Black Armada had struck first, shattering the illusion of Goran invincibility. Yet victory was far from complete. For every cruiser destroyed, for every command vessel felled, the Gorans still had numbers, still had weaponry, still had pride. And pride, as any strategist knew, could be deadly when paired with desperation. In the subterranean command center beneath the Rockies, Admiral Marcus Reynolds watched the battlefield unfold on enormous holoscreens. The room was a hive of tension. Military analysts, communications officers, and intelligence operatives moved between consoles, tracking hundreds of points of light, the warships, missiles, and explosions that painted space with the fury of humanity's retaliation. Emily Carver, standing beside the Admiral, studied the displays with a mixture of awe and anxiety. "They're holding formation, Admiral. Coordinated, but it's almost inhuman, the way they anticipate every Goran maneuver." Reynolds' eyes were calm, piercing. "It's not inhuman, Emily. It's human ingenuity, years of planning, decades of secrecy, and the resolve to never back down. The Gorans think this is about firepower. They're wrong. It's about understanding the rhythm of war, the psychology of the enemy. And today, we are that enemy." Far above, orbiting the remnants of the shattered Goran advance fleet, Commander Daniel Hayes led the Obsidian Wrath into the heart of the chaos. The flagship's hull glimmered black against the explosions, lighting the void like distant stars going supernova. Daniel's crew moved with the precision of a single organism, every action, every maneuver synchronized as if their thoughts were linked. "Targeting grid locked," Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell reported. Her voice was calm but charged with intensity. "Enemy command vessel directly ahead. Shields at 70%, weapons online." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Hit it now. Precision strikes. Disable command systems, then withdraw before retaliation." From the bridge, sensors tracked dozens of enemy vessels attempting to flank them. The Gorans were experienced, seasoned in countless campaigns, but they had never faced opponents like the Black Armada. Ships that should have been slow, vulnerable, or easily targeted moved unpredictably, striking with calculated ferocity. "Incoming torpedoes," shouted a weapons officer. Plasma missiles streaked toward the Obsidian Wrath, trailing glowing contrails of energy. Without hesitation, Sarah activated the shield matrix, absorbing the impact. Sparks danced across the hull plating, but the ship held. Daniel gritted his teeth. "They underestimate our resilience." Again. Meanwhile, Earth watched in disbelief. Civilian broadcasts had been co-opted for public reassurance, but the visuals leaking through clandestine channels painted a staggering truth: humanity's hidden fleet was more than legend, it was a reality. Across living rooms, offices, and schools, millions stared at the flickering holograms of destruction. Some wept with relief, others with pride, and some simply stood, frozen, realizing the scope of human preparation and wrath. In the chaos of battle, Daniel maneuvered the Obsidian Wrath closer to the enemy flagship. Every system fired in deadly coordination. Railguns tore through armored hulls. Plasma beams cut corridors through alien vessels. Boarding drones launched silently, infiltrating the Goran ship's control cores, disabling weapons and seizing command nodes. "Shields dropping on 2 enemy cruisers," Sarah reported. "Boarding drones engaged. Status? All secure. Enemy systems offline," Daniel replied. His voice was calm, but adrenaline burned in his veins. "Maintain momentum. We push forward. No hesitation." The Goran flagship roared to life, energy beams lancing into space, attempting to repel the Black Armada. Yet even their most advanced weaponry barely scratched the Obsidian Wrath. The human fleet flowed like water, splitting, converging, striking, then fading into the darkness. Every strike was purposeful, every maneuver calculated. They were not just fighting, they were orchestrating a symphony of destruction. Back in the Rockies, Emily leaned closer to the Admiral's holoscreen. Their tactics, it's almost as if they're anticipating the Goron's every move before it happens. How? Marcus Reynolds shook his head. It's not magic. It's instinct, training, and preparation. Every officer knows the pattern of war, every crew member knows the priorities. They move as one mind. That's why they're unstoppable. That's why the Gorons are struggling. Far above the battlefield, Daniel watched a cluster of enemy ships attempting a flanking maneuver. Interceptors. Take them out, he ordered. Within seconds, sleek, black strike craft darted into formation, tearing through the enemy ranks. Explosions blossomed like deadly flowers in the void, consuming the Goron vessels in searing heat. Sarah's voice cut through the comms. Command ship in range, sir. Shields compromised. We can disable it completely with coordinated plasma strikes. Daniel's fingers hovered over the control panel. Do it. Take them down. The salvo hit with surgical precision. Shields collapsed, engines faltered, and the alien crew scrambled in panic. Boarding drones infiltrated the vessel, disabling weapons and systems one by one. Daniel allowed himself the barest nod of satisfaction. Humanity was winning not just through firepower, but through strategy, discipline, and unwavering resolve. Yet even in victory, Daniel knew the battle was far from over. For every Goron ship destroyed, another could appear. For every command vessel neutralized, another fleet could respond. Humanity's fight had only begun. On Earth, civilians followed every transmission with a mixture of awe and terror. Streets emptied as people watched the war unfold, realizing that humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, not as a deterrent, but as a statement. The Black Armada had revealed a truth no one could ignore: Earth did not kneel. Earth struck. Emily Carver turned from the screens to Reynolds. They're incredible. Faster, smarter, everything the Gorons aren't. And they're just getting started. Marcus Reynolds nodded. That's the point. Humanity never fights to simply survive. We fight to dominate, to protect, to remind the galaxy what it means to underestimate us. Today is not about fear. It's about awakening. Back in orbit, the Obsidian Wrath pressed deeper into enemy lines. Daniel felt the familiar surge of adrenaline, that sharp edge that comes when life, death, and destiny intertwine. He knew the Gorons would respond with desperation, throwing everything they had at humanity. Yet he also knew one undeniable truth: the Black Armada was not a weapon of reaction, it was a weapon of foresight. Enemy flagship disabled, Sarah reported. All systems offline. They won't be coordinating the fleet for long. Daniel exhaled slowly. Good. Let's keep moving. Every vessel counts, every strike matters. We dismantle them here, or they'll regroup and strike at Earth itself. The battle raged on, explosions painting the void with eerie, beautiful light. Humanity moved like a shadow among stars, a predator striking with precision and disappearing before the prey could react. The Gorons, once confident and arrogant, now staggered under the assault. Their pride, their experience, and their technology had proven insufficient against decades of human preparation, patience, and ingenuity. As Daniel watched another cluster of enemy ships crumble under the Black Armada's assault, he allowed himself a fleeting thought: this was only the beginning. The Gorons had seen the tip of the spear, the edge of humanity's wrath. The heart of the resistance, the true measure of human strategy and endurance, had yet to be revealed. And when it did, the galaxy would understand what Earth had always known: humanity does not kneel. Humanity fights. Humanity dominates. The Black Armada surged onward, deeper into the shattered ranks of the Goron fleet. Shadows of war stretched across space, and in the heart of the storm, humanity's resolve burned brighter than any star. Victory was near, but the war had only just begun. The Goron home system loomed ahead, a network of moons and shattered orbital defenses that had once symbolized invincibility. Now, it was the stage for humanity's reckoning. The Black Armada, though battered and streaked with battle scars, moved like a shadow across the void, every ship a harbinger of destruction. The Obsidian Wrath led the charge, its black hull reflecting the explosions erupting in the distance like fireflies in a storm. Commander Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge, hands gripping the console, eyes fixed on the enemy flagship ahead. Each pulse of light from distant Goran vessels seemed to challenge him, but he did not flinch. "This ends today," he said quietly, almost to himself. "For Earth. For humanity. Fire everything." Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell's fingers danced across the controls. Weapons primed. Missiles, plasma cannons, railguns, all systems green. Boarding drones ready for deployment. The first volley struck, and the void lit up with violent splashes of energy. Plasma beams tore through alien armor, railguns shredded hulls with surgical precision, and missiles streaked across the black like deadly comets. The Gorans retaliated, sending torrents of energy across the human ships, but the Armada moved like liquid shadows, weaving through the chaos with impossible grace. Daniel watched as one of their cruisers fired a desperate barrage. "Evasive maneuvers," he barked. The ship twisted in space, dodging the blasts by centimeters. Sparks danced across the hull, alarms blared, but the Obsidian Wrath remained intact. The Goran flagship, massive and imposing, attempted to rally its remaining forces. From its bridge, alien commanders barked orders, their voices sharp with fear and rage. "Stop them! Destroy them before they reach the inner system." But it was too late. The Black Armada had already penetrated their defenses. Strike crafts darted forward, swarming the enemy vessels. Boarding drones infiltrated the flagship's systems, sabotaging engines, shields, and weapons one by one. Humanity's strategy was surgical: neutralize command, isolate wings, dismantle the fleet without mercy. On Earth, the world held its breath. Broadcasts showed the devastating precision of the Armada. Families huddled around screens, children's eyes wide with awe. Humanity had unleashed the power it had long hidden, a force born from decades of preparation, ingenuity, and the unyielding will to survive. No words could convey the scope of the assault, yet everyone understood one truth: Earth was no longer vulnerable. Earth was a predator awakened. Emily Carver's voice came over the global comms, steady and resolute. "The Black Armada is not only defending our world, it is showing the galaxy the cost of underestimating humanity. Today, we strike with purpose, precision, and resolve." Back in orbit, Daniel coordinated the next wave. Target the flagship's core systems. Disable propulsion. Cut communications. Ensure the command structure collapses completely. Sarah's hands moved with mechanical precision. Shields at 30%. Hull integrity compromised. Boarding drones are inside the main control nodes. We have control of navigation and weapons. Daniel allowed himself a brief, satisfied exhale. Good. Execute full tactical sequence Alpha 7. End this. The Obsidian Wrath released its final salvo. Plasma torpedoes struck simultaneously with railgun fire, detonating across the Goran flagship in blinding bursts of energy. Engines failed, weapons fried, and the alien crew was left scrambling in panic. For the first time, the Gorans understood the scale of their miscalculation. They had faced adversaries before. They had crushed civilizations. But never one like humanity. Around Daniel, the bridge crew maintained composure, but the tension was electric. Every officer knew the stakes. Every move counted. One miscalculation, and the Armada could fall, leaving Earth exposed. Yet, despite the danger, there was no hesitation. Humanity had trained for this. Humanity had prepared for this. Humanity had waited. The Goran fleet began to fracture. Without leadership, without coordination, the remaining ships were easy prey. Interceptors and plasma drones moved with terrifying efficiency, striking where the enemy was weakest. Explosions bloomed like deadly fireworks, consuming alien vessels in flashes of orange and white. "Command ship neutralized," Sarah reported, her voice calm but carrying a trace of triumph. "All critical systems offline. Remaining fleet scattered." Daniel's eyes swept the battlefield. The void, once filled with the pride and arrogance of the Gorans, now belonged to humanity. Every vessel that had threatened Earth was either destroyed or disabled. The Armada, though battered, had emerged victorious. On Earth, Admiral Reynolds addressed the world via secure transmission. They ordered us to kneel. They assumed fear would dictate our response. They were wrong. Today, humanity did not bow. Today, humanity fought and showed the galaxy that we do not yield to intimidation. The Black Armada has not only defended our home, it has announced that Earth's resolve is unbreakable. As the final Goran vessels collapsed into the void, Daniel allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. The Black Armada, though victorious, bore scars from the battle. Hulls were dented, shields burned, and systems pushed beyond their limits. But the fleet remained intact, a testament to human ingenuity, discipline, and courage. Emily Carver's voice cut through the comms again. The war may continue elsewhere, but today, humanity has set a precedent. Any who challenge us will learn what it means to face the Black Armada. Daniel's gaze turned outward, toward the stars. Beyond the wreckage and smoke, the galaxy awaited. Humanity had revealed itself not as prey, not as a civilization to be mocked or subdued, but as a force capable of unmatched strategy and ruthlessness. He thought of Earth, spinning silently beneath them, unaware of how close it had come to destruction and yet safe because of the humans who had prepared for every contingency. He thought of his crew, of the men and women who had become shadows in the void, striking with lethal precision. And he thought of the Gorans, once arrogant, now humbled, their empire's pride shattered. Set course for Earth, he ordered. We return not just as victors, but as a warning. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not negotiate. Humanity strikes. The Armada moved in formation, returning through the void, their black hulls gleaming faintly in starlight. For the first time, the galaxy saw the result of Earth's patience, Earth's planning, and Earth's unyielding will. The Goran collective would rebuild, but they would remember this day. Every world in the galaxy would remember, never command Earth to kneel. In the calm after the storm, as the debris of battle floated silently in the void, Daniel allowed a small, rare smile. Humanity had survived. Humanity had triumphed. Humanity had unleashed its true power, and the galaxy would never forget it. The Black Armada returned to orbit, shadows slipping silently past sensors that would never detect them. They were unseen, yet their presence was undeniable, a silent, unwavering promise. Humanity had risen, and with it came a new order in the stars. For those who dared challenge Earth in the future, the message was clear: humanity bows to no one. And those who cross its path will face a reckoning unlike anything the universe has ever known. The stars themselves seemed to acknowledge the victory, flickering in distant patterns, silent witnesses to the dawn of humanity's true power. And in that vast, silent cosmos, one truth burned brighter than any sun: Earth had unleashed the Black Armada. And the galaxy would never be the same again.